Hello, and welcome back to the Sober Connection with me, Abi King. Today, I'm having a real honest conversation about addiction, mental health, and what recovery actually looks like when life doesn't magically fall into place. My guest today is somebody that I know a little bit from around town. He's the co-owner of a popular CrossFit gym here and someone who shows up every week for his community in a really meaningful way, which we'll discuss later on. But before fitness and before leadership and before helping others, his story includes early drug and alcohol use, serious mental health challenges, relapse, and a long journey of learning how to stay present rather than escape. So this isn't a neat recovery story, and that's exactly why it's important for people to hear, because a life of sobriety isn't always just sunshine and rainbows. So my guest today is Jeremy Maxwell. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey Abby, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's really cool to have this conversation. I think it'll be a really good chat. So I wanted to just start off basically, and I always say in a nutshell, and it's very hard to have a conversation like this in a nutshell, but when people hear the words addiction and drug use, they often picture extremes. And I just wondered if you could describe your story in your own words, please.
Yep. Yeah, it certainly wasn't extreme, but I don't know, lots of different people have different experiences, I guess. Mine one was fairly run of the mill. I guess I was probably a fairly high functioning addict, I guess, or the drug dependent person. Still went to work, still did things like that until the wheels well and truly sort of fell off, I guess.
Hmm.
Still managed to use and participate, not so meaningfully. I thought I was probably participating meaningfully in life, but I wasn't. Sort of bills started to pile up and get pushed to the side, and money would go on drugs and stuff rather than other sort of everyday expenses and stuff like that. Um, probably it probably all started out just as nothing, like teenage experimentation and things like that. And then
Hmm.
over the period of probably, I guess I was probably 14 when I first tried stuff. And then my rock bottom moment was 24, so 10 years, I guess, was sort of the time frame that things went from nothing to falling over,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it did spiral. And I guess the more it spiraled, the more I used to deal with, not to deal with not being able to deal with the spiral.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you can't fall any further. Yeah. There was that sort of, for me, I guess my rock bottom was I got to the point where if I was sober, if I was straight, that felt weird. My altered living was my normal. Like if I was stoned or if I was high or if I was taking something, that was my normal.
Right. Yeah.
And then I guess my rock bottom moment was because I couldn't, I put myself on permanent night shifts going so I could use during the day. I was a nurse at the time, and I put myself on permanent night shifts, and so I could probably use during the day and then sleep and stuff like that. And it wasn't too much of a, I didn't think it was too much of a major at the time. But probably at the point I couldn't drive home without using. So I
Right.
had to stop on the way home,
Yeah.
get home,
Yeah.
have a sleep, wake up, and that was the sort of cycle. And then I had I had a psychotic episode, a drug-induced psychotic episode when I was 24, and it'd probably been building for a little while. I don't think that it wasn't the drug use specifically that gave me that, but it was because it was a lot of things. But that was my rock bottom. Going to work, having my charge nurse called in, being sent home, and then the person I was in a relationship with at that time sending me to the inpatient mental health unit.
Right.
Then yeah, and then waking up in the morning, not that I slept much that night, and seeing somebody I trained nursing with as a nurse while I was a inpatient.
Actually treating you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
that was pretty heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
So
the veil had well and truly been lifted. At
yeah.
that
Yeah. You
point, like I
couldn't hide from it anymore.
couldn't hide any longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you started off at 14, was it drugs straight away, or was it, I know that you've said to me before that alcohol didn't really give you the hit that you wanted. So
Alcohol just didn't agree with me. Like, it made me feel yuck, made me feel sick. And I
mhm,
found out later on I had something wrong with my liver. Well, my liver's not 100%. Like, it's nothing. It's just a thing where it doesn't deal with toxins very well. So alcohol just made me feel sick. I still drank and still threw up. I still drank and still threw up. But I
mhm,
sort of figured out that if I drank and used, and mostly, I mean, I guess it's weird because I think people maybe think about drugs as being hard stuff, whereas for me, mostly marijuana and speed, a little bit of Valium and
mhm.
stuff like that. Like, I wasn't shooting up and stuff. Because yeah, far out. So there by the grace of God go I. You know what I mean? Unless for some unknown reason I was never in that circle and I never had the opportunity to do that stuff because I don't know what would have happened if I had. Um, and I sort of figured out that was a good combination. I could drink for a little bit, and then if I smoked marijuana, that was probably the anti-nausea effect, and I could probably be okay. And then figured out that actually alcohol was dumb, drugs were way more fun, and gave me the sort of the disassociation or the I didn't necessarily have the hangover. I didn't feel sick, and I could probably still function a little bit. So it wasn't excessive stuff, but I think it was looked forward to stuff. It wasn't every day back then. It was just that sort of that, hey, this is interesting. This is cool. I like this feeling. And weekends, and then so on and so forth, and then doing this and then doing that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this works.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think you were kind of trying to avoid at that time back then?
Um, I, I think, I think this is the key. Right? I think this is a really cool question because I think this is the important part. It's not the drugs we use to cover stuff that I didn't either like about myself or the stuff that I
Hmm.
didn't want to deal with about myself or not belonging or um low self-esteem, all that sort of stuff. But I've got a pretty deep theory about this stuff, and this sort of came. I learned it more about it when I was in rehab, and there's a book out there. It's either called The Primal Wound or The Primal Scream, and it's to do with kids who are adopted or who are born premature and neonates and stuff like that. And it's about that lost connection between or a lost bond.
Yeah.
So I'm adopted, and I had great adopted parents who brought me up, and I know my adopted parents' story, and there's no ill feeling towards my birth mother or anything like that. I probably don't have the greatest of relationships with my birth father, but that's a whole nother therapy session, I would have thought. Um, but so sort of my thing was I didn't really know who I was, I guess. I didn't really like who I was, or I didn't really think that people would like who I was if I was me. Because in my I guess my inner child, my inside part was the very first person who was supposed to love and protect me gave me away.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that probably sort of and there's this massive circle. Like, there's that guy Gabor Mate. Have you heard of him?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that early childhood trauma stuff, right? Like, and that sort of probably put me down a whole lot of avenues of self fulfilling prophecies with relationships and stuff like that. And probably as I progressed through my teens and started having more and more relationships with other people and stuff like that, that I could justify being awful because that would fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy that those people would leave me. And
Mm.
then maybe to deal with that sort of stuff, then I would use or drink or whatever. It's easy to fly under the radar of having this sort of dependency or need to use something to justify stuff under the guise of the culture that's around us.
Hmm.
I think we can use that sort of like it's sneaky being an addict or it's sneaky being dependent on stuff. It's sort of sneaky having those things because I know that it's what I do is different from how regular people socialize.
Yeah. but then you can get in with that and then justify your behavior because it's
Oh,
what everyone else does under that.
1000%. And
Yeah.
that's interesting too, because I think for a long time, and probably up to a point now, but maybe not as much, there was jealousy of people who could do that.
Yeah.
There was like, far out, why do you get to do it? And then why do you get to go out and have fun? Well, not have fun, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard sort of sometimes thinking, or it was hard knowing that my normal is different from other people's normal.
Yeah. But when you kind of like think back to when you start sort of like trying to work out why you did the things that you did in the past, it does, I mean, it makes perfect sense that you would feel a sense of abandonment, from your
Yeah,
birth mother, right? And then feel that everybody that you ever yeah, you sort of like you can easily sort of push people away because everyone's going to leave you anyway. It's just
I mean,
that initial thought,
expert.
right?
And like, I've probably got, I don't know if you know about the 12 steps and stuff like that, but I've got probably 4,000 um, amends to make to heaps and heaps of people, because
Yeah.
no one ever really did anything wrong, but I made sure that I put them in a position to not do the wrong thing, but to prove my beliefs right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I don't have a lot of friends, I guess, and it sounds awful to say because these people are close to me, but I don't know if they know me.
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't,
Mm.
and there's always that sort of that distance.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that you not allowing people to get close still or?
Oh, I still think so. Yeah, like I think, like it's only like I just had a pretty big mental health episode not so long ago, and that brought up heaps of stuff that I thought I'd left behind,
Yeah.
but I hadn't. And it's that same stuff, and it was like, wow, and I didn't know my spot, I didn't know the people around me, I didn't know my place a little bit, and it was sort of like I was very, very willing to be alone again,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like it's like, hang on, this is all this stuff, and it was weird being present enough to know that, hey, these behaviors are bad. The behaviors you're thinking about doing now aren't right,
Mm.
but not knowing what necessarily was the right behavior in that time. The
Yeah.
right behavior has been for the last couple of months, don't act on this.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
act on these thoughts. Don't go and do the stuff that you would have done previously to make sure that this comes true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard though when that's been ingrained in your life for so long, it's very hard to change your
Yeah,
behavior. Yeah. Even
yeah,
though
and
you know that that's what you have to do.
yeah. It felt weird. It sort of being, because I'm 48 now, so it's been like 24 years since I was in rehab. Um, but I guess I've been. They call it. I don't know what the correct term is for someone who uses drugs, but I know for alcoholics they call them dry drunks.
Mm.
So they're not actually drinking, but they're not actually sober. There's still the same sort of stuff that goes on for them. So
Yeah.
I guess for a little while, for a long time, I've been that, and I've probably masked it with a whole lot of other behaviours, which I think sort of that addiction stuff or that coping stuff, I still have a lot to learn.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's not just as easy as I mean we've talked about this before, but I always just thought that it was going to be as simple as just stopping drinking. But it's actually that's when the work starts really because
Yeah.
that's when you've got to learn all these new coping mechanisms that you've been masking or you've been drinking to, as your way of coping. And all of a sudden, when you haven't got that anymore, it's like, well, how do you cope with all these things that life throws at you? It's that's yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. Like I was drinking for 30 odd years,
Yeah.
was my coping mechanism from the get-go, and yeah, it's just to not have that anymore. And when we've just had a death in the family just before
Mm.
Christmas, and it's just been a really sad time. And back in the day, I was thinking about it, reflecting on it the other day because almost 4 years ago, a good friend of mine passed away,
Yeah.
and it was close. I was really close to quitting alcohol then. I'd been trying for 4 years, and I was really, really close. Like my sober stints were getting longer,
That's
But
cool.
she passed away, and it just sent me over the edge, and I just drank continuously for 2 weeks. When I found out, when she at her funeral, and then for days afterwards, and then I stopped, and that's when I stopped. So that was like the
Yeah.
beginning of March, 2022. This time, I've actually just sat with my feelings. It's my kids' grandma. I've been able to be there for them. I found out that she passed away, and I drove 2 hours straight away to be with the girls. I've been able to
Mm.
sit and reflect, and it's totally different experience experiencing something like that, like grief, and a big, big emotions, when you're sober compared to, just at the bottom of a bottle. So,
It's
yeah,
massive, eh? Like
yeah.
yeah, and that's such a cool learning.
Yeah. And it's definitely, I mean, it's shit, but it's to be present and to be able to like recognize the feelings and sit with them. But it's just not what you do when you're so used to just having numbed it. It's Emotions are hard, right?
Yeah, I remember doing that when I wasn't with drugs and alcohol. It was with smoking. But when my grandmother died, I hadn't smoked cigarettes for ages. But on the way to her place where she was found, I stopped and bought a pack of cigarettes
Mm,
just without even thinking. It was just right. This is
yeah,
what's happening.
yeah,
And I think, yeah, it's funny because my relapses haven't necessarily been associated with. It hasn't felt like a lot of stress, but a moment of. It's been a moment of weakness. Someone said, "Hey, do you want these?" And I've been like, I need to say no. And next minute it's in my hand.
mm,
Um, or a little bit of freedom or a little bit of yeah, and my relapses have always been I don't know how well they've been hidden or disguised, but I've always tried to keep my relapses secret
yeah,
because I don't know necessarily if because once again it comes back to that stuff, what are people going to think of me if I relapse?
yeah. So that's
What
a
if it
shame thing.
I don't know if it's a shame thing. I'm not sure if it's shame or not. There probably is that I've failed.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is shame. I'm not sure. I've never really sort of thought about it as a shame thing. It's something I shouldn't be doing, or I've let people down,
Yeah.
or the
And it's
people
like
have
a
stood
judgment
by me.
against you.
Yeah, well, there's always. I think sometimes there's been that ultimatum, like if you pick up, I'm leaving, or if you pick up, you're
Yeah,
this. If you pick up, you're that. Whereas it's like it's sort of hard to say. Well, if you please understand that if I pick up, something's wrong. Like if I
yeah,
start using again, something wrong. It's got and you leaving doesn't fix that.
yes, yeah,
But I can understand that because people don't want to go through
yeah,
what I put them through again.
yeah,
Only
yeah,
like I remember getting all my knickers in a twist and my nose all out of joint when I'd come out of rehab and I'd probably been home 2 or 3 weeks. And I said to my mum, "Hey, can I borrow some money to get some dog food? Just $20." I remember her looking at me going saying, "Is this for dog food?"
mm,
And I was like, yeah. And there was a part of me like I was angry because yeah, it is for dog food. But it was another moment where I could sort of go, this is what people know me as now.
yeah, yeah,
Who's someone who's been deceitful, someone who's been yeah. So that was sort of weird. So then I didn't make there's all these little things, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
When you were 24, you had you experienced your drug-induced psychosis. So,
Mm.
um, what do you remember most about that period?
But there's a lot of life stuff going on. I was probably, and I don't know if the life stress added to it or was because of the stuff because I couldn't cope with things or wasn't dealing with things. I had just ended a pretty big relationship and moved very, very quickly into another relationship. But I think that was a pattern of my behaviours as well, having a safety net to go to,
Hmm.
so I wasn't alone.
Yeah,
Um, and then still trying to deal with that, trying to be this, trying to be that, not necessarily happy. And then just getting to the point where, because wasn't dealing with things and just pushing everything down and suppressing everything, it got to the point that the bucket had to overflow, I guess. It's sort of like, and just lots of scary thoughts in my head about plans on this and plans on that and how to get out of this situation, how to get out of this situation, and all plans that made perfect sense to me. But in the space I was probably enough to go, you probably shouldn't be thinking these things.
Right.
Like you're
Yeah.
thinking about harming yourself or other people, and you need some help. So I don't. Yeah, I guess it was called a drug-induced psychosis, and I'd been to the doctor leading up to that point, before that point, and saying, "Hey, things aren't right. I need to get organised. I need to get sorted out, and then go to see this psychiatrist, take this, all this sort of stuff." And then doctor said, "Here, take these to help with it." And that was when I sort of started discovering prescription stuff. So my
Right.
stint with prescription stuff wasn't huge, but it was certainly interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the person I was with at the time was like, "Well, Jeremy smokes a lot of weed, and he sort of uses that to cope." The doctor almost gave me permission in terms of like, "Right, use that until you get through this part, and then we'll look at getting you better." So probably in my timeline, I'm not too sure where, but I remember going, "The doctor said I can do this.
Yeah. Right.
Stop me."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Doctor says it's okay.
doctor says it's okay.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, and that was sort of not. I guess that was the beginning of the end almost. I'm not sure. It seems so long ago. Like it sort of maybe it's stuff I haven't sort of thought about for a long time.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was a big moment. I was just about to get married and things like that. It was all sort of going.
Oh,
Should I be
okay.
doing this? Should I not be doing this? Am I, is this the right decision? Have we rushed into this? And I think we had our 6 month anniversary while I was in rehab. So there was a little bit of time between the wheels falling off and no, there wasn't that much actually, because I remember getting through the wedding, and it was then after 6 months after, 5 months after we were married, that I was admitted
Right.
with my psychosis. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So did that experience change how you saw yourself and how you viewed drugs?
Yeah, it was a bit of an eye opener, I
Hmm.
guess. It was sort of, I don't know if it, because there was still a lot of stuff that was unresolved at that point,
Yeah.
I guess, within myself. Um, I remember asking the person I was with at the time, "Can you, before I get home, can you make sure everything's out of the house?" And then they hadn't done that. I remember sitting in the driveway waiting for them to empty the house of, because it was crazy. Like I'd get angry if the ashtray was emptied because I'd left stuff in the ashtray, or if the
Right.
ashtray had got knocked over, I'd be looking through the carpet, um, sort of stuff. And I remember, yeah, so because I had to be clean for a month before I went to rehab.
Hmm.
That was one of the rules.
Yeah.
So there was that. I don't think I had a choice about the going to rehab or not. It was definitely happening. So, um, so yeah, so like went to the hospital, been in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, 5ish days maybe. And that was scary. Like that was 3 o'clock in the morning, and you sort of trying to figure out whether I can lock my door or someone going to come into my room, because there was that moment of like, and this sounds awful, but like I'm here with these crazy people. Like I know I'm not crazy, but apparently I am crazy.
Yeah.
Well, not crazy, but my mind is altered. I'm living with different things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there'd been some self harm and stuff leading up to that point too, probably. Um, it's interesting because it was sort of like I remember feeling like, or the narrative in my head about that stuff was, I want to feel something different. I'm sick of feeling this, but I don't know how to feel anything else. Yeah, but yeah, sort of remember, and then like I said earlier, sort of like bumping into somebody I trained with as a nurse
Mm.
was now looking after me. And there was that, it was a little bit of sort of, fuck,
Yeah. Pretty confronting.
this is where I am.
Mm.
But the beautiful thing was she just gave me a big hug. And I said,
Which is probably all you needed right then, too.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it wasn't a judgment.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh fuck, that's Jeremy. What's he doing in here?
Yeah.
It
Right.
was like, come here. And
Yeah.
it was because New Plymouth was a small place. Nurses that I'd trained under in the hospital were there and stuff like that. And it's interesting because you could do, regardless of the level of your dependency or the level of your addiction or the stuff you did to maintain your dependency and addiction, you're still just a drug addict.
Mm.
when it comes. So there was a little bit of that labelling stuff that was a little bit hard. I remember going to rehab, but I've been clean for, like I said, about a month, and I was probably 2 weeks in, and there was a flu that went through the facility, or cold. Because you go in, you're in rooms with all these different people, the boys' wings and girls' wings, and you all live in this house sort of deal. And I said, hey, look, I've got a fever, I've got some aches, can I have some Panadol? No, because you might be using them to
Yeah,
feel something.
right.
And it's like, well, no, I'm not. But it's, like I said, yeah, it's because sometimes you can maybe, I didn't change my perception of myself that much, but maybe I felt the perception of myself had been changed.
Yeah, with the potential labeling or yeah, yeah.
But by people who had been working with people like me for a very, very long time, who probably
Mm,
knew everything. Whereas
yeah.
my first experience had been in a treatment facility.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, pretty confronting, I guess. Yeah. How long were you in the rehab for?
2 months.
Yeah.
So it could have been supposed to be maybe 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks. So I was supposed to do 2 months inpatient, and then you go off site into a house to sort of look after yourselves, but report back for your group therapy stuff
Yeah.
and things. But because it was in Napier,
Okay, yeah.
so it was a little bit far away. I'd already been away for 2 months, and I thought I was going pretty good and stuff. But as soon as I got back, catching up with people in pubs.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. I know this. I know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
You're not using, but and there's that weird justification, right? Like, oh, you're not using drugs. Alcohol's okay.
Yeah. So did you find that your out drinking booze increased from that?
Um, Not heaps, but it was common.
Yeah.
And then I sort of had to go, no, you can't. This is you're just going down the same road. You're doing
Yeah.
exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
you justify it to yourself because it's not drugs.
Yes. Yeah. So did you manage to stay sober after that, or
I
did you
think my
only?
I think my biggest, it's probably been my longest stint. I think was about 5 or 6 years post discharge
Okay.
from
Yeah.
from that. I've probably done longer, maybe, I'm not sure. But I've also know that I've slipped up a lot.
Yeah. What have been the reasons for you relapsing? Has it been a common theme or is it?
I don't know if it has been a common theme. Like, yeah, I guess the common theme has been me,
Hmm.
if that makes sense in a weird sort of
Yeah.
way. Like, it's not necessarily been a life event, or it's not necessarily been a tragedy or a celebration or anything like that. It's been something that I've justified, or a moment in time that I've justified that. And
It's
usually
okay.
it's about that stuff. I can do it this time.
Yeah.
It's not going to end up the same way. And then 3 or 4 months later, I'm at that point going, fuck, I need to get some drugs. This is freaking me out. I need to do this, I need to do that. I'm looking for, going through cupboards, trying to find things. Oh, there must be some here, there must be something here. Did I leave any here? Is there some down in there? What about this? And then that thinking, like, if I ask so and so, somebody I haven't spoken to for 6 months and I'm not friends with, but all of a sudden if I ask them, they might have something.
Mm.
So I don't necessarily think there has been a common. I think the common theme has been me,
Has been you. Yeah.
just at the point of have another go.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that's the frustrating part. Like, just like I said, there hasn't been an event that's made me go, man, I need to get out.
Yeah. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's just, and so that makes it hard that way because you can't sort of sense, okay, this, I'm feeling like this is usually how I feel when, so it's kind of,
Yeah,
if it sneaks up on you, then it's just like, oh shit.
yeah. Like
How do you prepare for that?
looking back at sort of like my last 2 or 3 times of relapsing, it's been somebody says, "Here, oh, hey, do you want to try this?"
Yeah.
And they don't know who I am. They
Mm.
don't necessarily know what my issues are.
Yeah.
And then I go, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun for you. Yeah, I can cope this time. I can just dodge have a little bit, and I'll put it away, and then it'll just be on weekends. It'll just be this. It won't be on that,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah. So you're setting all these rules for yourself, but like, like people do when they moderate with drinking, they have all these different rules, like I'll
Yeah.
only drink at the weekends, or I'll only drink on, I'll make sure I have water in between each drink, and all these different rules. And then rules are meant to be broken, right?
Oh,
I know it
my
never
rule
worked for me, for sure.
never would have lasted 24 hours.
Nah,
I'll just
nah,
try it tonight and then I won't have it till the weekend, and the next night it's like bang, right.
it's all gone.
And yeah, yeah, or it's stretched out, but it's sort of to make it last. Because I think, what do I think? It never sort of, I was okay to have little bits, but it was that constant.
Yeah,
So it was never just one day.
yeah,
It was every single day.
yeah,
I think lockdown was a big one. It was a big relapsing point
yeah,
for me.
yeah. A
Um,
lot of people struggled then, eh?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I didn't have to do anything. I sort of quite like not doing nothing, and it sort of,
Mm,
but I was bored.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, boredom and no responsibilities. That's a recipe for disaster, really, eh?
yeah, well, what did we learn in rehab? It was HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yeah,
And those are the sort of four things. Like if you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, these are the danger times.
yes, definitely.
So yeah, so I don't necessarily know. I think it's just been weaknesses, or it's been, I don't even know if it's a weakness. It's just been, it probably reaffirms the fact that doesn't matter how many versions of me there are, inside of me is something that has that need for that. I don't know
Mm,
if that's the right way of explaining it. I don't know if it'll go away. I don't know if, like, I'm quite happy to live with it and acknowledge it and know it.
mm-hmm.
I just have to not feed it.
Yeah,
I think it's just me. There's another addiction quote, 3,476. One is too many, 1,000 never enough.
yeah,
And I think that's the thing, right? I know that if I have one, I'm done.
yeah,
But I know that it won't ever be enough either.
yeah.
Sort of like, yeah, yeah. So I
No,
don't know if there's anything necessarily that sets me off. I just know there's a part of me that enjoys or has that dependency on making myself quiet, or my inner turmoil quiet.
mm,
And a lot of, if I'm sort of checking the boxes or ticking the boxes, if I'm going for walks, making sure I'm exercising, making sure I have some sleep, making sure I'm eating okay, making sure I'm not pushing all those people who think I'm okay away, I'm probably not going to go down and look for that person inside me.
yeah,
Does that sort of make sense?
yeah. It does make sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense. I was the same. I had to get to the point where it was the first drink that got me into trouble. So if I just didn't have that first drink, then I couldn't drink to blackout, which is what I did. So as soon as I had that first drink, that was me for the rest of the night. And it didn't matter whether I started at 8 o'clock at night. Very rarely would I start that late, or
Yeah.
11 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I had that first drink, that was me for the rest of the day. I was drinking. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably me as well. Like depending on when I started using during the day or whatever, my relapses and stuff like that, it would have been, it's to destruction.
mm,
It's not for enjoyment.
no, no.
It's right. We're going.
Yeah.
Hold
And
on.
even like that first drink, I'd pour it sometimes. Just be, I don't even want this, but I'm gonna have it anyway. And then
Yeah.
that would be me. Or I'd finish, at the end of the night, I'd have my whatever I drunk, but I'd have like a little bit of wine left, from
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
second or third bottle of wine, and I didn't need it, and I was so drunk, but I'd pour it and drink it anyway, and I'd scull it, and I'd go off to bed, and there was no point to it at all. But
No.
I would always drink until there was nothing left, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just not ideal. So yeah, but I think it's once you realize that and you get that sort of self-awareness, it becomes a lot easier then, because you know, okay, well, I just won't have that first drink then, or I need to put all of these things in place to make sure that I'm protected. And then that sort of, like you were saying before, as long as you're eating well, you're exercising, you're going for your walks, all of those things, those are the things that are going to, in theory, keep you safe, and
Yeah.
as soon as anything slips, then that's when you're sort of entering a little bit of, danger territory, I guess. So,
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned exercise, and I wanted to talk about your thing that you do on a Sunday, move the weight. So for the listeners, this is a free gym session that happens at 8:30 on a Sunday at Jeremy's gym. It's open to everybody, and it's called Move the Weight. Obviously, weight as in gym weights, but also the weight on your shoulders. It's a mental health thing, and I just wanted to. It's so cool. Like, I've done it a few times, and it's such a good community vibe. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about that, where the idea came from, why it's on a Sunday morning. Or I know the reason why it's on a Sunday morning, but I think it's a really important point why it's particularly on a Sunday morning. Yeah, just talk us through Move the Weight.
Move the weight. It's cool. So, like you said, move the weight. It's not necessarily about the weight. It's around your tummy or the weight. It's the weight that's on your head and your heart. Like, how do we shift that? And I think community seems to be a pretty important part of that, or some sort of getting together. So it started because we were running a class at the gym for people who are sort of new to gym stuff, and it was through the green prescription, which is sort of like you can go to your doctor and get a green prescription, which allows people to get cheaper activities or
Okay, cool.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
we had a guy turn up who would talk to me about mental health stuff and his things and things like that. And I hadn't seen him for a couple of weeks. You know, you always having that thought of, hey, I need to reach out and I should be message this guy. I need to check in, and then it would be put on the to-do list that kept getting longer. And I was at a coffee shop one day, and a mate said, "Hey, I know you know this guy. We were called out to his place, and we found him, and he's killed himself." It floored me. Like I was at a loss. Like that was probably the worst thing I'd ever heard, because
Yeah.
he was a good human, but he was just a lost soul, you know, like he wasn't happy. He couldn't find his happiness. So I guess, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. And I took it pretty heavily. I thought I missed it. I should have done something. I should have been able to do something. I should have clicked earlier that he wasn't around for a reason. And I guess my response to that was the move the weight thing. Right, we're gonna get together every week. I'm gonna open this thing up. And we went through a couple of things. Is it just going to be for guys? Should it just be for guys and girls? Should it just be this? What should it be? But I think, I don't know, without sounding awful, I think women are a lot better at dealing with their mental health than guys are.
Mm.
Or not usually dealing with it, but having the support around them to deal with it.
Yeah, I think they're just more we just talk to our mates more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah.
and your mates listen better.
Mm.
Your mates know how to deal with stuff better than men mates or boy mates, because I think boy mates are stupid sometimes. Not stupid, but just we're all emotionally immature as men, I think, a little bit. Which is a whole nother podcast probably. But but then so it started, and it was just like, this is the thing, and then the statistics start coming out, you know, that Sunday is the biggest day that people decide to commit suicide or take their own life or attempt suicide. I know there's proper ways of saying that, and I can't remember at the moment. And I think there's that Saturday night, Sunday morning sort of effect as well. That people are having a tough week. Friday, Saturday nights come into it. Sundays there's regrets.
Yeah.
Or some justifications, or there's some farewells from Saturday night, or there's some finalising and stuff like that, and some peacemaking with what might happen. So we used to have a little hashtag that was like Sunday mornings over Saturday nights. Like, choose to go to bed early. Choose to go so you know that you can wake up on Sunday morning at 8, get to the gym at 8:30 and be with some people. So yeah, so the idea behind Sunday mornings is, if you can win Sunday morning, maybe you win Sunday. And if you win Sunday, maybe Monday's not so bad. And if you win that one, maybe you get through to next Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Statistically, if you can get through Sunday, you're probably going okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we opened it up to everyone, because I think, and it sort of worked because it's not full of our gym members. Yeah, there's some people that attend our gym, but there's a lot of people that don't attend our gym either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even if they come for the exercise, I think the mental health stuff or the community or the connection or the fun or the endorphins is a beautiful side effect.
Yeah.
But if they come for the community and the connection and the endorphins, then the exercise is a beautiful side effect.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's not painted anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you move. I think it's just a cool way. I don't know. It's just become this thing now, right? And going up for longer. I think it's just maybe 2 and a bit years now we've been doing it.
Yeah.
And it's bloomed and it's growing and it's this thing that I don't know what's going to happen with it. But
I feel like it's grown just even in the last few months. It's
yeah,
there's been obviously you always post your on your Instagram each the photo of the group and the workout and stuff, and there's been some massive turnouts lately, right?
it's cool. Like, and it's just,
Yeah.
I think it's neat that there's this community that doesn't necessarily live in each other's community
Yeah.
that comes together,
Yeah.
and regardless of, I think that's nice because I think we get stuck in our communities a little bit,
Yeah,
whether or
definitely.
not, and this was sort of like something I was going to say, like whether or not the communities are serving us or not as well,
Mm.
or is they comfortable. We get comfortable being in these
It's just what
communities.
we know, right?
That's our role. Like that was probably one of my biggest things about not being a drug addict was like, where do I fit now?
Mm.
Because Jeremy was the druggie.
Yeah.
Jeremy was the user. Jeremy was the stoner. Jeremy was
Well,
what am
when that's
I?
been your identity your whole life, right? And
Yeah. What
that's
am I if I'm not that?
yeah.
Shit, I'm going
Yeah.
to have to be me. What
Yeah.
if I don't like me? What if people don't like me?
Yeah, I think as well that keeps a lot of people stuck too, because I know for me, my alcohol was fully part of my identity. I was like, Abby, oh, she drinks a lot, and
Yeah.
the booze hag, and it was just part of my identity. It's what I did, I drank, and so to not have that all of a sudden, it is really scary because you do have to. I mean, it's exciting in a way because you can reinvent yourself and become this totally different person. But the people that you've been hanging out with aren't necessarily going to like that person.
No.
So then you have to find a whole new community. I mean,
Yeah.
I moved away to a town where I didn't know anybody, so I had like a clean slate pretty much. But
Wow.
yeah, but it's definitely scary, and I think it does definitely influence a lot of people's decisions not to get sober,
Yeah.
actually.
I think so. Like I think being sober is confronting for other people.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody offers you a drink and you say no, I don't drink,
Mm.
quite often there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's something wrong with me. That's why I'm not drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But makes them look at themselves a little bit,
Yes, it does. Yeah, it definitely shines a light. Yeah.
which is
And so a lot of people don't like that.
yeah, yeah. It's
Mm.
interesting.
It is. It is. For someone who's listening,
Yeah.
who's struggling, like obviously I know that exercise has been a game changer for me. So somebody that's listening who's kind of struggling with all of this that wouldn't normally walk into a gym, what would you want them to know?
Like about the benefits of exercise over drugs and
Yeah,
alcohol.
yeah, and the whole community thing, and it's just.
I think sort of, and it's
I mean, how has it
nutshell.
benefited you?
Yeah,
How has exercise benefited you in your
probably not.
life?
At times it's wonderful. At times it's not wonderful. And I've just sort of gone through this, so I think I think for me this is a double-barreled answer, and I think exercise is wonderful because it makes you feel good. It's going to prolong your life, and it's probably going to reverse a whole lot of the things that I've done to myself and the things I've ingested and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me an outlet.
Yeah.
It allows me to deal with some of the emotions that I'm going through. Quite often, because of the style of exercise I do and things like that, I can't think about the other things that are happening in my life that might cause me to want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I can I think there's this wonderful thing, do the hard thing so you can do the hard thing.
Yeah.
So if we do something gross, maybe I'm then better at doing other hard things. If that other
Yeah.
hard thing is not drinking for today or not using for today, or for the next 5 minutes or the next hour or the next whatever,
Mm.
then I can do that. On the flip side of that, I know personally I've used exercise as a negative thing.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to use, but I'm going to go into the gym and I'm going to make this one hurt.
Yeah, right.
Um, I'm not going to use, but I'm going to be at the gym 3 hours every day until I've justified my existence,
Yeah.
sort of stuff. So I think yeah, exercise is wonderful. It's like anything though, right? Like if you have that type of personality where you have to be that you can fall into something, and if it's not, it's never 50-50, it's either nothing or everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's that everything in moderation. Like check yourself. Like are you here to exercise or are you here to replace something?
Yeah.
So I think having the right community around you in terms of what the majority of sort of gyms are becoming these days, in terms of those group based classes and stuff like that, and it's finding the right group of people to be around if you're going to the gym to exercise
Yeah.
and stuff like. And it's still there. It's going into those places knowing that there will be functions, there will be social outings, and there will be things like that. Whereas I'm still probably not great at that part of it. Like I don't like being around alcohol. I don't like being around drugs. I don't like being around,
Mm.
and I don't know if I ever did.
Yeah.
In terms of, I went there because I thought it was the right thing to do
Yeah, right.
because the cool kids were there, right? Or the cool
Yeah.
people were there, or this is how you connect with people because this is how they connect.
Mm.
Yeah. So for exercise, yeah, wonderful. It's great. It's probably the best thing in the whole wide world.
Just as
But
long as you don't take it too
make sure it's
far.
the right reasons you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely I know that for me, like I threw myself into exercise when I moved down here because like I said, I didn't know anybody and I joined a gym, joined a community. That was my way of meeting people. But now I really struggle with having rest days. So I just beat
Yeah.
myself up if I feel so lazy when I have a rest day. And I'm really trying to teach myself that that's just as important as the days when I am working out. But yeah, it is hard. I know my daughter, she's 17 and almost 17. She definitely goes to the gym for her mental health, but I do wonder sometimes if it's a little bit more. Yeah, I just kind of like watching her at the moment because it feels like a little bit maybe too extreme. We are both training for High Rocks, which we're doing together at the end of
Yeah.
January. But so training is kind of ramped up a bit at the moment anyway. But just yeah, she has to go and have like 45 minutes on the stairmaster after her workout, and if anybody's on the stairmaster, she gets real shitty. But I don't know if that's just a teenage thing.
No, I think it's routine, right? Or it's expectation, or it's easy to get upset at things in our existences
Mm,
because I know I can as well. Like this is my timeline for my day. Now, if I procrastinate or do other things during that timeline, my fuse gets a little bit shorter and stuff like that.
yeah,
We can get wrapped up in ourselves quite a lot.
yeah,
So it's sort of like I can see where she comes from because I do the same thing. Like, oh, I wanted that. Jeremy, you probably should have left the house 5 minutes earlier instead of scrolling,
yeah,
and then you would have been on that now.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
now that you
true.
want it. Yeah, it's a tricky one because I would hate to be a teenager nowadays. I think.
Mm, yeah, it's a lot of expectations,
I think
a
there's a
lot of
lot of
comparisons, and
yeah. I
yeah,
think there's a lot of lived experience that hasn't been lived, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of exposure to social media stuff or experiences, or all these teenagers I know think they're about 36
mm,
and live in LA and well, you know what I mean. Sort of like they have this lifestyle that they've witnessed,
yeah,
but because it's such a common thing, they haven't actually experienced it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole other one as well. There's about
yeah.
50, the world according to Jeremy.
Um, how has your understanding of recovery changed over time, do you think? So you've said before that you're sober, clean, but you're not fixed. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a big one.
mm,
I think the stuff that the reasons I used are still there.
yeah,
So I think recovery is recovering from, it's not being sober. Recovery for me now means recovering from the things that make me want to use.
yeah,
So how do I deal with the traumas I think I've had or the experiences that I think I've had that have wanted me to yeah, how do I deal with those so I don't go into that space. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that's what recovery means for me now. Like after this last little incident that I've had, which and I'm pretty proud of myself as I haven't picked up. So like
Yeah. That's amazing.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I haven't broken up with anyone. I haven't gone out and cheated on anyone. I haven't gone out and done all the things that
All these self-destructive
yeah,
behaviors.
which are like, which sounds awful, right? But like, there's a safety in that. There's a
Hmm.
comfortableness in self-destructing
Yeah.
because I know
Well,
it
it's been your
works.
go-to for so long,
Because I know it
right?
works. It will
Yeah.
give me the right result.
Hmm.
Um, so recovery is what I'm doing now. That recovery is not acting on these behaviors. Maybe recovery is yeah. So I don't think recovery is just being sober or
Mm.
being straight or being clean or being whatever. I think recovery now is sort your shit,
Yeah.
deal with it, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of what it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of emphasis, like I said before in the intro, like there's a lot of people think that there's a lot of people out there that talk it up, like talk up sobriety and like it's this amazing thing and it's brilliant and like your life will be amazing and it's just yeah, like I said
Yeah,
before, you don't have those coping mechanisms. You've had this coping mechanism for so long that life still throws shit at you and you still have to deal with it, and instead of just throwing yourself into the bottom of a bottle or you picking up and using, then it is learning about those skills. And some people just, unless they've got the right support system and the right
yeah.
resources to learn those skills, then it's very very difficult. Yeah,
I
it
think
doesn't just happen overnight.
no, because life doesn't change, right? Like
Mm,
rehab quote 7,476. Life on life's terms,
yeah.
because you don't have any other control over anything other than how you react to it. So like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's because the bills are still going to come through the door. People are still going to look at you funny and make you have a second guess of yourself, or you're still going to have an argument with someone. You're still going to have there's still 4,000 reasons why you should do the things that I know don't work for me.
Yeah.
So I don't because if I think if I have the mindset that life is going to be wonderful, what happens when life isn't?
Mm,
Like
yeah.
the reality of the thing is, it's just life goes on. It doesn't matter if you're sober or drunk, life will pass you by. So unless you're enjoying it, and I think, and this is going to sound, I'm going to say it because I don't really care, but it's going to sound weird. Is I think there's a difference between people who have decided not to drink and people who actually need to stop drinking
Hmm.
or stop using. Does that make sense? Sort of like, I think there's this thing that, yeah, I've been sober. I'm like, that's wonderful, but there's the how I don't know. That sounds really yuck, but I think there's a difference, and I think some people are better at coping with things and probably could drink and not drink and stop drinking and do this and do that, and life would go on and they'd be okay. But I also think there's people who, for whatever reason, have this thing inside them that means that it's really really hard, or I don't know. I'm not sure where that one goes.
Mm,
I think there's sometimes it feels like it's the cool thing to do.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about it these days, isn't it? But I also think, yeah, there's a lot more evidence around it, certainly around alcohol. There's a lot more evidence coming out that it's not good for you and things like that. So a lot of people are embracing their whole kind of health and well-being a lot
Yeah.
more.
Oh yeah.
Like I,
Yeah.
I grew up in the sort of in the UK in the ladette culture, where the girls were swigging pints to keep up with the lads, and and it was whether we just tried to emulate that, and that's what we did. I've got a client, she's a couple of years younger than me, and that's exactly what we talk about, is that they were influencing us. They were the influencers back in the days, back in the 90s, for like, yeah, swigging pints and drinking guys under the table and yeah, like being all rowdy and stuff. And there isn't that now. Like, it's good. Like, my kids are growing up seeing people actually trying to go to the gym and be healthier, and and so then that's much
Yeah,
better. But it's the people our age and our generation. I'm the same age as you pretty much, where it's so ingrained in society and in the culture that we've grown up with in the last 30 years that it's very, very hard to make that change, I think. So
yeah. It's been
yeah.
hard, I think, being a parent as well, sort of going, my son wants to go out and drink with his mates and probably smoke weed and stuff like that. And my middle girl is started going to parties and having the odd drink and stuff like that. And like inside of me is screaming like, no, like you're my child.
I
What
know.
if, what if this thing that's inside me ends up with you, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you become like what I am? And yeah,
Yeah, you want to wrap them in cotton wool. I think that the same. My eldest is going to R&V this for New Year's, and
yeah,
I just said goodbye to her, and I gave her the little bit of a drug talk, and but then I just I'm so protective of them, and I've bought them drinks and stuff, and it's fine. Like I'm not going to be that person that says you mustn't drink. It's their lives, as long as they obviously I will be conscious of them not getting into the state that I was in, but I don't think they will anyway, because they've seen me in that state, and that's not something that they want to.
yeah,
I know that they don't want to see to be that themselves, but I just this would be her first time really sort of being in an environment where there's going to be lots of drugs around and stuff. But I think back to me, she's 18 and I was 14 and I was going to raves, so it's
yeah.
it's
A
kind
bit
of,
different.
you want to protect them, and then you sort of feel like such a hypocrite, because I'm surprised I'm not dead, to be honest, because of the things that I got up to at their age.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's an
but
interesting
yeah,
one.
it's hard. So we're just going to close up now, but I just wondered if what are you most proud of, because of your story? Not despite your story, but what are you most proud of because of your story? And I think it's pretty cool that you got through this recent thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's growth, right?
I think so. So I think what am I
Yeah,
most proud of because of my story? I guess that I'm here. I'm
yeah,
doing things. Like I'm not. It could have gone a whole nother way.
mm,
I think is probably what I'm proud of. I'm proud of that my kids still say they love me. I think
yeah,
my kids are still a part of my life. Um, that I had enough people around me who haven't walked away from me.
yeah,
Um, I think I'm proud of the fact that there must be something inside of me that people like, if that doesn't sound
yeah,
too emo or whatever. But like I guess I'm proud for making it,
yeah,
because I could have not made it
yeah,
despite
definitely.
my best efforts. Like I could have, yeah, I could have been something completely different. Or I could have been somewhere completely different. And I think if I think back to my young, mid teens, late teens to early 20s, I think my retirement plan was Amsterdam when I was 50, which is sort of 2 years away. And now I'm sort of like a gym owner. I've got this cool thing on a Sunday morning that I do. I know I help people's lives. I'm studying, which which is cool, and also probably another story as well. But I think that's it. Like I think despite my best efforts, I'm going okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a success story, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, well, I want to thank you so much for being honest today, and for getting your story out there. It's been really cool chat. Hope that
thank you.
you've got some. I know that you said at the start that you thought that it might be quite cathartic for you to have a chat about this kind of thing. So hopefully you've got some things to think about when when we stop chatting.
Yeah, it's been. I thank you for having me. I think there was that little bit of imposter syndrome that I was like, am I the right person to be on here? Like, I don't want to make sobriety and um, drug-free living sound awful. Yeah,
I think it's really important to make it real. I think, the majority of people do have, like do have amazing lives after they get sober, but not you can't have a 100% success rate, right? But
yeah,
you're proving that, you're still here and you're still doing it, and you're successful in your own way. So I
yeah,
mean, yeah, like you said, that I mean, the move the weight thing that you do is amazing. It's such a cool initiative, and yeah, long may it continue. I will get there again soon once High Rocks is finished. I just
All
have
good for that.
something else on a Sunday morning now,
No,
but
all good.
yeah. But yeah, Jeremy, thank you so much for your for coming on, and yeah, I will speak to you soon, and I hope the listeners have enjoyed this conversation, and we will see you again next week. So
Hey,
thank you, Jeremy.
thank you, Abby. Appreciate it.
Cheers.